Oh, hello again. My name's Logan King, and you can call me Bluebarian. This is our second episode, and me and my co-host that is the floating voice, Tingerene.
Woo! I'm a ghost!
We review video games. And on this second episode, we are celebrating by doing our first two-game special. Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. This time we're playing a game from a company I was raised with, Nintendo. To this day I have faint memories of playing NES and SNES as early as 2 years old. Growing up, video games were all about who you shared the gaming experiences with. Talking to your friends on the playground about this newfangled game called Pokemon, or attempting to beat Gauntlet with a friend and realizing you just pulled your first all-nighter. For the most part, though, Nintendo makes me think of my family. We used to always gather in the family room and switch off playing games like Mario Kart, Mortal Kombat, Donkey Kong, Goof Troop, and sometimes longer games like Zelda. Now, some of you YouTubers out there may not be too happy with Nintendo as of late, since they're taking all of our ad money and commissioning us to make Nintendo videos, assuring the videos on Nintendo products are positive. But that's not why I'm making this video.
I don't know what to believe anymore.
So I actually have never played these games before, and in fact, I don't own a Wii.
Then how did you play it?
I own a Wii U.
Oh, okay. Awesome. How's that Wii U game library working out for you? Gotta play the Wii games instead?
Yes, I do. And here's my experience with Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. It's a Mario game. Bowser takes the princess and you go to save her. That's it. I'm just playing. The story does have a touch more depth to it, which makes it unique. I'll start by explaining the Mario universe as fast as possible. The Mario world is usually set in the Mushroom Kingdom, inhabited by toads, which are these little mushroom-headed fellows. The ruler of said kingdom is Princess Toadstool, now more referred to as Peach. The most common antagonist of the story tends to be King Bowser Koopa. He is the embodiment of greed and wrath, always hungry for dominance over the Mushroom Kingdom. With this strive for dominance, Bowser often captures the princess, and only you, the hero, can save her. Who is this shining knight in armor? A plumber. And his brother.
Yay.
And a dinosaur! All caught up, class? Great. With the games I'm reviewing, I should make it clear that the beginning of the story in Mario Galaxy is the same as Mario Galaxy 2. Reason being, the second game is literally someone reading a book telling the events of the first game.
Whoa. Spoilers, dude.
Yeah, sure, but I think it's pretty easy to derive this from the beginning of both games. Both start with the Mushroom Kingdom celebrating a festival during the falling of the stars, which doesn't happen often. Bowser and his kids show up to kidnap the princess as usual, and in the second game, Bowser shows up alone, and this time is huge.
That's just inappropriate.
So now Mario, with the help of his little star friend, which are called Lumas, travel across the universe in search of his special one. Along the way, they run into a lot of trouble and go through many dangerous environments, all to collect stars to fuel the ship which will eventually be capable of getting Mario to his beloved Peach. Luigi shows up too, but I'll get into that in the gameplay section. This lovely Peach lookalike is named Rosalina. She is the woman responsible for getting the ship to save Peach up and running. She seeks the return of her Luma friends. So since the two of you have similar goals, you team up. In the second game, she exists, but she is not so prominent. Replacing her as ship captain in the second game is a fat star in its underwear. Okay. Now it does make me a touch uncomfortable that Mario is killing innocent creatures everywhere he goes. In fact, most of the enemies aren't even directly linked to Bowser, and Mario is inexplicably killing them.
What? What have I done?
Throughout the journey, you run into a lot of interesting characters, like the platoon of space-traveling toads that usually just crash land everywhere. You also get letters from Peach, who can somehow send them to you, despite being galaxies away and kidnapped. Also from various people I don't care as much about. Despite being relatively new, the story is not so important, because it is indeed a Mario game. The heart of the game is in the gameplay itself.
So get on with it!
If you take anything from this episode, please take into account what I have to say here in the gameplay section.
Although those graphics and music's pretty good, but we'll get to that soon.
Wink! Super Mario Galaxy gameplay. What is it really about? Well, it's about traversing unique terrains and collecting stars at the end of levels. It is very much a spiritual successor to the Mario 64, Mario Sunshine line of games. These are some of my first Wii games in general. This one, I particularly like the motion controls a lot, especially in a boss fight. To do this little spin here, you flick your wrist horizontally. In those intense moments of the games, it feels like I'm the one hitting Bowser. But the pointing at the screen stuff I don't enjoy quite as much. In the game you have the option of pointing at the screen to collect those little star bits, as opposed to having Mario run up and grab them. It always takes that extra second or so to see how your aiming is being registered by the Wii, and that affects the game flow in a negative light in my opinion, despite only being a few seconds of consideration. Throughout the games you have to either avoid or kill enemies. You can knock them over and you can jump on heads, though this time around some of the Goombas are actually ready for Mario's jumping trickery. Plus there are still plenty of unique enemies that you still have to beat. The camera seems to follow at good angles more often than not. It's certainly better than Mario Sunshine. You can also more often than not change the camera angles with the C button, but that generally isn't needed. Once you overcome the whole
I'm upside down. What in the name of Birdo is going on here?
This certainly isn't Mario 64. That camera has pizzazz.
Your nostalgia clouds your memory. The camera controls are much more refined than Mario 64. I mean, is that even a controller, or is that some kind of spaceship? Though these games are similar to Mario 64 in that you have a home base to travel between levels. In the first game you have the observatory ship that starts off as desolate and dark, but becomes colorful and booming with, life? The second game, you're flying through space on a giant Mario head. Seems legit. Now one thing that I found interesting was that you can go throughout the whole first game's main story, with only interacting with your brother once, but in the second game you can play as Luigi periodically through the main story, as opposed to in the first game where you couldn't do that until you've completed the entire game. In the second game, every so often he shows up and gives you the option to switch. I love the heightened incorporation of the younger brother in the second game, and in this,
The Year of Luigi,
I especially find it awesome. Luigi was player 2 in the classic games, and was always who I played as when I played with my older brothers, so it's nice to see him. As cowardly as he may be, he is still just as much a hero. In these games, the player 2 role was very much less involved. Instead of a switching off system, they had the second player simply point at the screen to collect things like star bits. Not very thrilling, but it's definitely an interesting way to just keep someone else involved in what is undoubtedly a single player game. I suggest switching off who plays as Mario each level and who gets the collection of star bits duty, if you want to play 2-player.
There's still no Luigi though.
Your pet dinosaur shows up in the second game fairly often. The levels with Yoshi were some of the funnest levels I played. Rosalina shows up in the second game in the form of blue magic to kinda take the reins of the game for you if you fail too much. You can let her play for you, but if you do, you risk not getting a full star. The star will be downgraded in quality. That. Interesting game design though. It's like a failsafe in case they made something too hard in the game. Game creators always fear making a game too hard, and sometimes lament themselves for doing so. Making a part too hard may make the player stop, and that would leave a bad final impression. So addressing the difficult parts is quite brilliant. No one likes playing something that's too much of a challenge, right? Right? Wrong! While collecting stars, you can come across prankster comets. They are special opportunities for another star that can be obtained if you meet the unique conditions. Some make you run through levels or boss fights with only 1 hit point, as opposed to the normal 3 through the game. One has you collect purple thingies, another has you run for your life while Mario mimics chase you, another has you race a mimic Mario, and another speeds up the enemies. In the second game, you must collect all of these comet medallions in a galaxy to summon a prankster comet. Which reminds me, you may be wondering what a galaxy in Mario Galaxy is. In the first game, you unlock different rooms throughout the ship that will allow you access to different galaxies, which are individual levels. In the second game, there are worlds, and within the worlds are galaxies, which are again the actual levels. Therein lies the confusion. The worlds are in fact called galaxies, and the larger areas that contains all of these various galaxies are called worlds. Now one might think that this was a failure in translation to the English versions, but such a mistake is not as common as it used to be in older Nintendo days. Rather, I believe it was named this way to stay in tradition to the franchise's predecessors. We all remember when we discovered the warps in Mario 2 to skip ahead in worlds, or in Mario 3 when your friend showed you how to get 2 whistles and get to World 8 from World 1. If paying homage to these worlds is indeed what they were going for, I feel they could have dropped that piece of nostalgia and relish on the immensity that they still have. And since we're talking about nostalgia, these games would be much better if they gave cutscene dialogue to more bosses like they did with the late great King Whomp, who was in the Throwback Galaxy, which was indeed a tribute to the classic Mario 64 stage. Chip off Whomp's block. Now I'm sorry, but I have to telegraph our verdict here. These games are amazingly fun. The gameplay is constantly changing and keeping itself fresh. The bulk of the game is your stereotypical 3D platformer.
Stereotypical? Sacrilege!
Okay, this one is more diverse than most 3D platformers though. When you play Mario 64 or Banjo-Kazooie, you don't have a tremendous amount of mechanic diversity. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not genuinely comparing these titans to current day games. That would be a whole nother video in and of itself. But I am saying that Mario Galaxy has all sorts of gameplay. Rope swings, constantly changing gravity, ice skating, Yoshi riding in all of its various forms, balancing atop a ball, floating in a bubble, flying as a ghost, riding on giant plant life, bird races, failing at surfing, floating in space bubbles, butt sliding, cloud jumping, earth drilling, rock rolling, fire throwing, rainbow starring, spring bouncing, bee flying.
And getting the flying Mario way too late.
One of my favorite things about Mario games are those epic jumps! And what makes Mario games so awesome in that regard is that the 3D Marios have the best jumps ever. Like this one, and that one.
Don't you dare forget about this one. Yeah! Righteous!
In Mario Galaxy, it feels like the world is made for me. Unlike some games like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, it feels like the world around you is thriving without the player even being there. In Mario Galaxy, he literally makes planets appear. You have a large impact in this world, and in my opinion, it makes this feel unreal and outlandish. Then again, it is just a Mario game. The universe never really had strong immersion. If you, of course, ignore Mario RPG, like most people do.
Yeah, you hear me, Sakurai? We want Geno in the new Smash Bros.
These games look rad. Now, I am a bit spoiled with the newest HD Mario game, so going back to the non-HD, I can totally notice the pixels around everything. But is that a major deterrent? No. It's still beautiful. The scenarios and environments really do the game justice. Mario games always have imaginative freedoms that you seldom see in other games, but being that you can fly to any galaxy in the universe in this game, it really does give the creators quite the creative freedom. The odd camera angles really do give some beautiful outer space vistas, and that's really what this game is all about when it comes to the scenery. You travel to all sorts of places, be it colorful and friendly or evil and threatening, and everything in between. The whole time you will be mesmerized by the beauty.
The colors.
Oh my various gods.
This game has some of the finest music I have ever heard in a game.
And them some strong words, too. You's a big nerd.
It's true, I love video game music. It inspires hope, ambition, fear, and whatever the creators are trying to spark in the players' minds as they play their games. The many people involved in the creation of Mario Galaxy's fine music definitely have my respect. Check it out, even Miyamoto is lovin's it. What is extra cool about the music in these games is that they have remade songs from their predecessors. My personal fave in the nostalgia department is the Bowser's Castle music, originally from Mario 64. It's just so epic.
I don't know. The softer, ambient music in the game is what appeals to me, one of which is the music that plays during the observatory cutscenes. It just makes you want to stare off into the distance and wonder, what if? And it's just so pretty.
But epic parts. They are the most memorable moments of the game, both in that the events are epic as and that music. You gotta love the music when you're getting an upper hand in a boss fight, or when you are in a particularly intense part of the game. The Bowser fights are always cool due to the music increasing in epicness when you get the upper hand. They just make you want to swing that Wiimote even harder next time that Koopa bastard rolls your way.
But sometimes it's just nice to roam around the level and not worry about being killed by lava balls and Bowser stomps. And when it's peaceful music, it just adds to the experience of exploring and gives you a sense of curiousness, and it's just so pretty.
Right. Well, I guess it's kinda pretty, but epic! I mean, immersion's okay, I guess, if your life isn't in peril, but...
My God.
Right?
It's so pretty.
Now there are certainly secrets in the game, but I'm gonna be sharing the nifty little gems that I came across. One gem that I came across was in the second game. In the Beat Block Galaxy, there is a moment that kinda reminds me of Q*bert. Now, do I actually think that this is an homage to the classic game? No. The only resemblance is the blocks and the manner in which they are placed. But wait, those enemies do look a bit familiar. In all my research, I cannot find a valid connection where Nintendo actually states that this stage is an homage. For that matter, the only information I can dig up on these new to Mario Galaxy enemies is that they are called Octoombas. You know, like a Goomba, but kinda looks like an octopus. Clever name, guys. Clever. Interestingly enough, this wasn't the only possible homage I came across. In one of the ball balancing levels in the second game, there is a clear Mario Party Bumper Balls callback. Bumper Balls was always my favorite minigame for some reason, particularly because you got to see who of your friends went after you first.
Hey, I'm keeping my eye on you.
Another secret I found was, who the hell are these creepy guys? Ha, I bet all of you who knew about this thought that this was going to be in the crazy game theory section.
No dice.
In searching the skyline of Shiverburn Galaxy in the second game, you will notice 3 menacing figures standing looking down at you. They personally remind me of some kind of monster you would run into in another world. Upon further research in the Google machines, I found that these mysterious fellows are part of the background texture, and if you hack the game, their specific file name is Hell Valley Skytree. Now, people don't know for sure, but I think it's safe to say that Shiverburn Galaxy was originally nicknamed Hell Valley in beta, but they aptly changed the name to better fit the friendly Mario tone. Now, these don't look like trees to me, but this is an alien world, I suppose. I personally tried shooting them. It didn't work. No matter where you go, it seems like they are following you on the skyline. This is undoubtedly the creepiest thing in the game if you happen to stumble upon it. Though in reality, the skyline stands still, so this is why it seems like they're watching and following you.
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
I cannot emphasize this enough, but the second game is immensely similar to the first game. In fact, as I already divulged, this is because it is retelling the same story. The second game being just a storybook is all the more fitting that the map selection is reminiscent of Mario 3. Mario 3 is but a play that Mario and the gang put on for the player. What with the props being held up by nails and Mario running behind the curtains each level. While playing the second game, all I could think was, am I really just playing a rehash of the same game I played a few days ago? If there was supposed to be some kind of nostalgia in this, it was lost on me. Though I'm sure the nostalgia boost was not lost on folks who bought these games when they came out. Galaxy 2 definitely pays tribute to the first Galaxy, and many other Mario games in general. It is interesting how Nintendo does things like this with their games. Remember how in Super Smash Bros. You were actually just toys that the Master Hand was playing with?
Whoa! So, we players are the Master Hand, and the controller is the portal to the gaming world? I'm freaking out, man. What is real?
Okay. Well, I think we lost Tingerene. Now, my crazy game theory this time is less on the specific game and more on Nintendo in general. I want to know why Nintendo has this trend of games just being a story within a story. My theory is that it's as simple as being an easy story element to add a bit of depth. But who knows?
Not me, man. My mind already exploded.
Honestly, I really liked both of these games, especially towards the end. The bump up in challenge actually kept me captivated. Perhaps I only like the end game in both of these more because I'm an adult. If I was a kid trying to tackle this game, the beginning might be a bit more beneficial in learning the ropes. Both games let you continue playing post-story, through giving you the impression that beating the game is only half the experience. I definitely like that, because if I had this game when I was a kid, and it was all I could afford for months and months, I would hope I could get as much out of the game as I possibly could. These games were a lot of fun. Sure, they have their flaws here and there, but for what it is, these games were pure awesome sauce. Now, these games may not be the best play-through in under a week kind of games, but they are fantastic to have on the shelf and play from time to time. The Super Mario Galaxies are some of the finest 3D platformers I've ever played, with by far the best music I've heard in a game in a long time. If you pass these games up, I wholeheartedly want to convince you that it is worth finding a copy of either of them and trying it out for yourself. Which you start with doesn't matter, to be honest, but personally, I'm gonna go back and 100% Mario Galaxy 1. Now when it comes to rating these games, because they're so similar, I'm gonna give them the same rating. These games get a "those epic jumps" out of 10. Hey everyone, thanks for coming out to watch the video again. I really appreciate it. I mean, it's amazing. The first video we put out there, we got like 75 subscribers right off the bat. Thank you. I love it. Now, it takes a little time to get these videos out there for you guys. It's really time consuming, but it's well worth it. It's a lot of fun. If you're ever wondering about what we're doing in the process of making a video, how far along we are, feel free to check out the Bluebarian Twitter or Facebook. And as a special thanks to all of you fans who subscribed and everyone who just watched this video, we are actually reviewing a game someone suggested for next week. Hey, who suggested the game for next week?
You suggested the next one, you dingus.
I did? What was it?
My name is Decker Kane, I'm the last of a breed. When I give out a warning, you'd best take heed. I am the sworn enemy of Big Bad Bale. He was first in line at the evil sale. Evil sale, evil sale. Even though I'm ancient and somewhat of a relic, people tell me I look like Tom Selleck. I'm nasty, I'm old, and a little bit ornery. I look like Patrick Stewart and sound like Sean Connery.